Odds are, if you clicked on this video, you probably like roller coasters. You may even be a full-fledged roller coaster enthusiast. For some of us, we've never been afraid to board that train, pull down that restraint, and dispatch from that station. But some of us didn't always have the courage to ride roller coasters. We would swear never to ride them, and we would scream, cry, anything to keep us from facing that fear. For years, I was a part of that latter group, and only in the past couple of years have I really fallen in love with the coaster and amusement industry. But what exactly flipped that switch? How the heck did this once coaster foe become such a huge fan of these adrenaline machines? Welcome to CLT Coasters. My name is Josh, and this is the story of how I found my way into the coaster community. Before we get into the video, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to everyone who supported me throughout the past year on Instagram. I officially joined the coaster community in 2020 and they really welcomed me with open arms. I've been able to connect with and become friends with so many great people and I can't thank them enough for that. If you've never heard of me, consider following CLT Coasters on Instagram and spread the word that I am now on YouTube. With that said, let's jump right in. My first experience with anything roller coaster related came in June of 2010. My family was taking a trip to Walt Disney World in Bay Lake, Florida, my first ever visit to a theme park. It was at Magic Kingdom that, at the age of 4, I rode my very first roller coaster, the park's Aero Mine Train Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. I absolutely loved it, and it's still one of my favorite family coasters to this day. It wouldn't be long before I rode my second coaster, the Barnstormer, a Vekoma Jr. coaster also at Magic Kingdom. Beyond that and Big Thunder, I was too scared to ride any of the other Disney coasters, or pretty much any coaster in general. Fast forward to the summer of 2014 when I first visited my former home park of Six Flags Over Texas in Arlington, Texas. My dad forced me to ride the park's classic wooden coaster, Judge Roy Scream, and let me tell you, that thing terrified me when I first saw it. 71 feet in height is obviously pretty short to me now, but back then it seemed like hundreds more. Nevertheless, I still rode it, and I hit the brake run with a big ol' smile on my face. Later that day, I would ride 2 more coasters, Runaway Mine Train and Mini Mine Train, but nothing more. Still, I began to cross over into the world of thrill coasters. Having annual passes to Walt Disney World, we continue to visit each year. In 2016, I finally got on Disney's largest coasters, such as Space Mountain, Expedition Everest, and Rock 'n' Roller Coaster, my first coaster with inversions. It instantly became my number 1 coaster after riding. I was starting to take on bigger and badder attractions, but I still wasn't a coaster fan. Yet. That came in February of 2017 when I took my first visit to Universal Orlando Resort in, well, Orlando, Florida. It was at Islands of Adventure that my coaster life was changed forever, courtesy of none other than the defunct Dragon Challenge, a pair of Harry Potter-themed B&M inverted coasters. I was scared to death while waiting in line, as I had never ridden any coaster as tall or as fast as either of the Dragons. But when I got off the ride, I was changed. The Chinese Fireball side instantly became my number 1 coaster for 2 years, with Hungarian Horntail coming in right behind. It's too bad I only ever got 1 ride on each, but I'm so grateful for both of them. It wasn't long before I started watching coaster YouTube channels, such as Coaster Studios, Theme Park Crazy, and Coaster Frenzy. These channels, along with RCDB and Wikipedia research, are what really got me interested in the coaster community. It wouldn't be long before I began watching more YouTube channels like Destination Thrills, Park Pros, and of course Airtime Thrills, further expanding my knowledge of coasters and theme parks. In 2019, I began taking an interest in the coasters at my home park, Carowinds, in Charlotte, North Carolina. Copperhead Strike became my number 1 coaster upon my first ride, and I thoroughly enjoyed some of the park's other rides like Afterburn, Hurler, and the Flying Cobras. I was fully prepared to ride the park's remaining coasters in 2020, but we all know what happened then. It wasn't all bad though. I got to ride my first 2 mountain coasters in 2020, including the elusive Cowboy Coaster in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. In 2021, I finally got on my last 4 coasters at Carowinds. These included Intimidator, my first 200-foot coaster, and Fury 325, my first 300-foot coaster. In June, I took my first visit to Hershey Park in Hershey, Pennsylvania, where I fell in love with the park's Intamin wing coaster Sky Rush, along with the rest of their excellent coaster lineup. I returned to Universal Orlando in October, where I experienced the rest of the resort's major coasters, including the legendary Jurassic World Velocicoaster, which dethroned Fury 325 as my number 1 coaster. I'll also be visiting Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee for the first time later this month, and I'm super hyped to get my first rides in on Lightning Rod, which will be my first coaster from RMC. This has been an incredible year for my growth as an enthusiast, and I'm sure next year and beyond bring even more adventures. And that's about it. I've been extremely fortunate to have ended up in the coaster community, and I'm so looking forward to seeing what the future holds. If you're watching this and have a fear of roller coasters, I hope my little coming of age story can inspire you to take that leap of faith and conquer your coaster phobia. Work your way up to bigger and badder attractions, and be sure to take a friend or family member along with you. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave me a like and consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications. Being a brand new channel, each like and subscriber helps tremendously. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care, everybody.